Radio Free 102.3 KJLH. Good morning. I'm Dominique DiPrima. Welcome to the Front Page Saturday Town Hall Edition. Good morning, family. Welcome worldwide. If you're listening online at KJLHradio.com, we have a special edition of the Front Page today, now every Saturday from 8 to 10. And a big thank you to City Council President Emeritus Wesson, who is underwriting the show along with the City of Los Angeles, Youth Build, and the Independent Professionals Association. We thank them. This is a great opportunity for us to come together, to get knowledge, to share information, and to do something that we can do together for the greater good during this COVID-19 crisis and beyond. Family, we want to share resources, we want to share information, and we invite you to call always. Always like to hear from you. 520-KJLH, 520-5554. That's the number to call. Doesn't matter what your area code is. We always want to hear from you. Just put that area code on there, in 818-562-310. Today we are focused on our health in a real way. You know, we hear so many statistics and so much information. In a sense, sometimes you have to take a break, turn off the news, and focus on just being okay, feeling okay, not getting too caught up. But there are many questions that people have about our health. What do I do if I'm feeling sick? What do I do if a family member's feeling sick? How do I know if I have coronavirus, or I should say COVID-19, the disease caused by coronavirus? How do I know when to go to the hospital? How do I know when to go to the doctor? Whatever questions you have, we have doctors that will be here until 10 o'clock this morning answering those questions. I would love to hear from you, because I want us to be able to be responsive to what you want to know about. That is what makes it a town hall meeting. That is what makes it an opportunity for us to feel better and do better. We're being joined once again by Dr. Maita Kuvhenguhwa. She is a medical doctor at Martin Luther King Community Medical Group. She's graduated from UCLA Geffen School of Medicine, Drew University, UCLA Medical Residency, and she also has postgraduate training in a fellowship in infectious diseases, which is particularly of interest and helpful to us right now. Dr. Kuvhenguhwa, welcome back to the Front Page Saturday Town Hall Edition.
Thank you so much for having me.
You know, I suppose we're all learning every day because this information just keeps coming out. And we keep hearing different things about coronavirus, about COVID-19. I'm sure you have to keep on top of it more than anyone else as a doctor with an infectious disease background. I feel like in some ways the more I hear, sort of the more serious this seems. Is that what you feel as a doctor, getting more and more information?
Yeah, I mean, I think that the picture has changed a lot over the last 2 months, and more information keeps coming out, and I'm sure that the news reports are also heightening the anxiety. But, you know, as more information comes out, we learn more about this virus and more about the ways that we can protect ourselves, and what we can do to help patients. So it's intimidating, but it also gives me hope.
Yeah, well, I'm glad that people are keeping it on. I don't know what is wrong with my brain this morning. If I said brought to you by Community Build, that's what it says on the page, and certainly we're so happy to be working with Community Build and the incredible work that they're doing. Just last week alone, feeding so many people with grocery giveaways and more. There's a lot of misinformation and confusion going on around coronavirus. I'm sure that you hear such. But at this point, we're pretty much everywhere supposed to be wearing masks, supposed to be wearing, some kind of face covering, if not a surgical mask. A lot of people are choosing to wear gloves, although that's not mandated. And initially, we heard this was mainly to keep other people from getting sick, to keep our loved ones or strangers that we come in contact from being sick in case we were walking around with it and didn't know it. But now it seems like they're starting to edge a little bit towards we need to do this to protect ourselves as well.
So the science behind the face coverings is still the same. It's the asymptomatic carriers. So the theory is that if you have everyone wear cloth face coverings or cloth masks, then you're preventing the respiratory droplets that contain the virus from escaping into the environment and making people sick. So if you say to everyone that they need to wear these masks, then you are covering the entire population, people who are asymptomatic, people who are sick, and then, there is some protection provided by covering your nose and mouth. Also, in theory, you won't touch your nose and mouth as much because it's possible to get infected that way too, viral particles entering the mucous membrane. So the science is still the same, but I think the recommendations have changed because of the whole asymptomatic carrier situation.
And I mean, we don't know exactly. We hear so many people comparing this to the flu and people saying, well, more people do die from the flu, but we really don't know that yet because we haven't done in the United States enough blanket testing to really know exactly where we are. How many people have it as compared to how many people get sick, as compared to how many people unfortunately pass away, correct?
Yeah, that's exactly how I would phrase it. I wanted to also mention about the gloves. You brought up a great point. I've seen people, when I've gone to the grocery store, they wear gloves throughout their entire visit to the grocery store. And the truth is that the gloves may provide protection in the moment, but people can become lax with hand hygiene, may touch their face, may touch their car door, may touch other things in their environment. And so it's possible to really contaminate yourself and your environment by wearing gloves and not doing proper hand hygiene. So that's one of the reasons why wearing gloves in public spaces is not recommended. It's much better to just use your hand sanitizer, use your soap and water, and not wear gloves the entire visit.
Yeah, I mean, I see people pulling down those masks and pulling them up, and I'm like, how many things have you touched since you pulling down the mask? I think you're missing the concept here. We are being joined by our council President Emeritus, Herb Wesson Jr. Of course, he served as president of the LA City Council from November 2011 through 2019. He's representing District 10 since 2005, and he was the first African-American to hold the position of council president in the city's history. He is also making today's show possible, and actually all of these Saturday shows possible. Council member Herb Wesson Jr., thank you so much. Thank you for making this possible.
Well, no, it's my pleasure and, in fact, my responsibility to try to do that. I'm so honored to be on with you and the doctor and to be part of this conversation. Just listening to the tail end of it, this is also new for us. And I'm trying to figure out how to properly use my mask. I was having a conversation with my doctor the other day, and he said, whenever you touch the front of it, you contaminated it. And so there are adjustments that a lot of us are going to have to go through, and that's why it's so important that we have an expert on, like the good doctor, and you're asking the right questions, because the more we know, the safer we can make ourselves.
As an elected official, I mean, you sign up to serve the public, and I guess these are the moments where you really have to step up. It's just a lot of information coming really fast. And when I look around at different states and different cities and what's happening, I feel grateful that we have the elected officials that we have, because I really do, because the difference, it makes all the difference in the world, how fast we react, what resources are put in place. And we see that California, although it's not time to just go out and go to a rave, is definitely seeing some progress, right?
Oh, I feel that way. And when you look at some of the statistics in other parts of this country where it relates to black folk, like in Milwaukee County, I think African Americans make up like 26% of the population, and I think the death rate of individuals that have died from this virus is like 80%. In Chicago, it's unbelievably high. And now, here we make up 9%, and I think up to this point, the death rate is doubled. We're at about 18%. But I believe the reason why we do have some handle on it at this point in time is because we have reacted fast. We have tried to get people to stay home. We have done everything within our power to try to educate them, and that's what you guys are doing today. You're the voice to the community, and I just can't say how important this service is.
Well, that's why we thank you for making it possible. It is, for me, it's a reminder why voting matters. And I know that's not what the show is about today, but we do have a big election in November. It's why voting matters, because it's who you end up having help you or represent you in these moments of crisis. And it's based on who we decided to put in office. Circling back to the masks, though, you have created an initiative to get people masks for people in your district. Not everyone knows how to make a mask or, can find a mask. Some people can't even leave their houses to get a mask. So, you guys are offering masks to people.
Yeah, we're offering free cloth masks. We've been doing this for about the past 3 weeks or so. What concerns me, whenever you find yourself in a situation like this, there's always going to be individuals that are out there that are going to try to take advantage of the system. And I've been driving around, doing my work, and people are selling masks for $5 and $6 and $7. And I just think that is ridiculous. So in the event, if there's individuals that need masks, you can go to herbwesson.com/mask. Contact us, give us your address, and we'll send you masks until we run out. So we've done a good job of getting them out there, and I just need to know who needs them. Some of them I'll even deliver myself.
That would be wild. We've
been doing that. We've been doing a lot to try to help I've always felt, and I think the first time I did your show, we talked about this, I said probably the most important thing that we can do as people is stay out of the way of our medical professionals. Let them focus on this virus, and they should not have to worry about us. So if we take care of ourselves, if we properly eat, if we wash our hands, if we wear masks, if we stay at home, then that reduces the burden on them so that they can go out and treat those who really need it.
Exactly, and it seems like so far that, Dr. Kuvhenguhwa, so far that seems to be working. I mean, we're not seeing the kind of overwhelmed medical facilities that you see in New York and some other places, right?
Correct.
So that is the result of people cooperating and doing what, we're meant to do. And, as a medical professional, but also as a lawmaker, we have to be mindful of people's rights. I mean, we see people out here protesting, saying they want to have the right to gather. But then again, I think what happens if they do gather and they get sick? And we've seen this with funerals. We've seen it with other kinds of gatherings where, it was just a small gathering. And as a result, a number of people ended up sick or even dead. What's that balance between, our civil liberties and our just getting this thing under control?
Well, I mean, I think it's a very fine balance, and it's hard to tell people, no, you can't leave your home. But I think the alternative is the kind of raging spread that we've seen in other countries and even other states. And I think it'll have to be a gradual process of, allowing people to return back to normal activities, but reinforcing the idea of hand hygiene and, social distancing is still important, even if people are wearing masks or cloth face coverings. It doesn't mean that you can be within 6 feet of someone and go about your normal activities. For now, we're still social distancing. So I think it's gonna be a whole adjustment.
520-KJLH, 520-5554. It is the Front Page Saturday Town Hall edition, brought to you by Council President Emeritus Herb Wesson, the City of Los Angeles Community Build, and the Independent Professionals Association. We already have folks on the phones, and I would love it if we could take as many people's calls as possible just to get questions answered, because ask a doctor, ask a council member. Let's find out what people are missing in their information database, their personal information database. We're going to go to Kenneth. He's calling us from North Carolina. Good morning, Kenneth.
Wow. Good morning. How are you, Dominique?
Good. Welcome.
Hello, everybody on the panel also. I'd like to thank you guys for being the voice for people and giving us the information that's necessary for us that we just really don't get ourselves or any other place. You're very, informational, educated, and Madam Doctor, I thank you for your expertise and for being on the panel there. You also, Mr. Wesson. And
yes, sir.
I just can't, thank you guys enough and show my gratitude, because you're helping the community as most people refuse to do.
Well, thank you for that. I mean, that's what we aim to do. And the whole thing is that, we need to get good information. We need solid information, not just random videos.
I've listened to you on the radio. You're very, very informative. You do your research properly. And even though people try to, play the nip and tuck game with you about they have more knowledge about this and that, your expertise and your research, I really appreciate, second to none.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I didn't even pay him. Thank you, Mr. Blackwell. What were you about to say, Council President Emeritus?
Well, you know what? I'm sorry. I thought that he had gotten off the line. I wanted to refer back to something that the doctor said, and maybe she may want to expand on it, or maybe not. But just because you are washing your hand or wearing masks and gloves or whatever, you shouldn't get a false sense of security. And I think that that's part of the message that she was sending out there. We don't want people to think if you put all of this gear on that you can just go out into the community and act as if nothing has occurred. The best thing is to still stay at home as much as you can.
All right. Yeah. I mean, I think that's a great point. Sometimes we think we turned into Batman because we put this stuff on, and that's actually just not the truth. Germs go onto masks and onto gloves just as much as they go anywhere else. We've got CP calling us from South Central Los Angeles. Good morning, CP.
Good morning. Am I being heard, Dominique?
Indeed you are.
I want to say this. Let me roll this off first, please, Dominique. If my voice ever been heard in history, I want to be heard this morning. I'm listening at you guys, all you guys. I'm thinking about how long I've been associated with Stevie and how many good things he's been doing. I'm listening at you, Dominique. I had interaction with your father before. And
your phone is going in and out, CP. Can you move to a part of your house where you have better reception or something real quick?
Can you hear me better now?
Yes.
Okay, and I look at you and your father and what he stood for, and I look at Brother Herb, and I'm listening to this young doctor. A lot of you guys don't know about Herb Wesson and what he how involved he really is. Really, really is. He's a part of the Black Community Health Task Force. When we call him each time he came, and I know Miss Mobley is rejoicing, and I am so glad we fought for this hospital. Herb know it. I was at his inauguration, and Herb, I also got some pictures I took at your parade when your mother was living, and you get in touch with me, and I got them for you. And this young doctor, I want you to look up the history of Dr. Samuel Shack and Dr. Thala Pally, whatever. He's an Indian doctor. But what I want to say, Dominique, I just shared it on Facebook. They got some people in prison. If it's going to be all inclusive, we're really going to help people. Herb, I hope you can get somebody. Look at this guy was showing on his phone that how guys was dying in that cell, and they was putting those bodies on the basketball court in a tent. It's really, really pitiful. If somebody look at my Facebook, they can see it. But look, Dominique, thank you. You're a great host, and all this is organic, and it's just going to show everybody if we keep on working, hey, it'll all come together. Hey, one love. Thank you, Stevie. Thank you, Herb. Thanks for the young doctor, and thank you, Dominique.
Thank you, Stevie.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Last time you were on Councilman Wesson, you said, call me Herb, and I guess CP took it seriously.
No, but that Councilman is what I do. Herb is who I am. So I prefer being called Herb. And he referenced Lillian Mobley and some of the great ones that, if they were alive during this crisis, they would be doing, above and beyond the call of duty to try to help folks. But Herb I like.
All right, let's go to Fixico calling us from Los Angeles.
Yes. Greetings, Madam President Dominique DiPrima, my hero, my great hero, Councilman Herb Wesson.
Yay!
And the great doctor who is there. I mean, it's such a wonderful community day. And my question really is this political disaster being used for, is this health disaster being used for political advantage to President Trump? And this is what I base it on. In my reading, my 50 seconds, if I have it, in my reading of modern history, the situation that we now face is too exact to be a coincidence. President Trump's alt-right advisor, Mr. Steve Bannon, in 2007 said, we may lose the presidency, but we will never give it back.
Okay, Fixico, I'm interjecting because we really wanted to focus today on the medical aspects of this disease and let people ask questions. But since you're here and you've raised it, what is your bottom line here, or what is your question?
My bottom line is this health crisis for us being used for political advantage by President Trump?
Okay, I think, in an election year, politicians, especially in a presidential election, presidential candidates are going to use anything they can for political advantage. I hope people aren't uninformed enough to think that he's doing a great job in leading us through this crisis. But we'll have to see how it plays out in the election. I don't know if Councilmember Wesson or...
Well, all I would say on that is, when you look at the statistics of individuals that are, catching the virus, individuals who the death rates from various cities back east, it would appear that African Americans are not faring well. I believe we have a broken public health system that is racist, and that this should ignite the African American community to go out to vote and to make sure we do everything that we can to put forth the changes to the public health system that need to be in place. Your ethnic makeup or your zip code should not dictate your lifespan.
A great point. Councilmember Wesson, Herb, I know you have a busy schedule today. I want to make sure that I ask you, what message do you want Angelinos to hear, especially our front page and Radio Free community here, our KJLH family? What do you want us to hear and know at this moment in the city of LA, as far as just being well, staying well, the health piece, the medical piece, and keeping our families well?
Well, these are tough times, but tough times pass. Tough times don't last. Tough people do. We need to come together. We're all in this together to do whatever we can to help one another. But I think it's more important that we listen to shows like this and we listen to the doctor. I mean, these hints and things that we should do that we get from her may very well save our lives. And so I do believe that KJLH and you and Mr. Wonder have a responsibility to try to provide accurate information to the community. And I'm just so glad to be a part of this. And I'm so glad that you're having very credible, respected people that have come on and just speaking the truth, because that's what's going to keep people alive. And I'm going to hang up with you. And then today we're delivering food again to seniors and some more masks. And I try to stay home as much as I can. Do what you can to help your neighbors. And I guess that's my message. This will pass.
Absolutely. HerbWesson.com/masks for people who need those. And next week we'll be talking specifically about the impact on Black America, African Americans in LA County and in the city of Los Angeles. And so we thank you for sponsoring the show.
Thank you for having me.
All right, we'll continue with Dr. Kuvhenguhwa. We're adding more doctors so that you can get all kinds of help and questions answered. 520-KJLH, 520-5554. We're broadcasting live from the KJLH 1-800-THE-LAW 2 studio, radio free, 102.3 KJLH.